I didn't always know these things. When I was younger, I used to think wisdom came automatically with age. I believed that one day I'd wake up in my 60s or 70s, and all the answers would be waiting for me like mail on a doorstep. But that's not how life works. No one hands you a manual for how to live well. Not when you're 20, not at 40, not even at 65. And truthfully, I didn't know many of the things I know now until I messed them up. I made mistakes. I lost people, I wasted time, and somewhere in the middle of all that, I learned. I'm sharing these lessons not because I've lived a perfect life, but because I haven't. And maybe that's why they matter. Maybe that's why they stick. Because every single one of these lessons cost me something: time, sleep, relationships, tears. You see, wisdom doesn't arrive like a birthday gift. It shows up slowly, like a whisper after the storm. You don't always notice it at first. You think, this pain will pass, or I'll do better next time. But then one day, you find yourself standing in the kitchen, staring out the window, thinking about something you said 10 years ago, and wishing you'd known better. That's where wisdom lives. It lives in those quiet, reflective moments. It hides in your scars. It breathes through the losses you never expected and the peace you never thought you'd find. So no. I didn't always know these things. In fact, some of them I wish I'd learned decades earlier. But I also know that timing is its own teacher, and sometimes you learn the right thing, just in time to pass it on. If you're watching this and you're still young, in body, in heart, or in hope, I want you to know this. You don't have to learn everything the hard way. Some lessons are gifts, and the wisest thing I ever did was start listening when people older than me spoke from the heart. Because when someone who has walked through life's fire tells you what they learned, they're not just sharing advice. They're offering you shelter. They're saving you from stepping on the same broken glass they once did barefoot. I've seen a lot in my life. I've seen the world change in ways I never imagined. I've watched people chase things that didn't matter. I've chased a few myself. And over the years, I've realized that what's loud isn't always important, and what's quiet isn't always weak. I didn't always know that. I used to think success meant being admired. Now I believe success is waking up peaceful. I used to think love was passion and fireworks. Now I believe real love is quiet loyalty, kindness, and showing up, even on the hard days. I didn't always know that time is the most expensive currency. That 1 hour with someone you love is worth more than 100 hours with people who just tolerate you. I didn't know that forgiving someone doesn't mean they were right. It just means you're ready to stop carrying the weight they left on your shoulders. And I sure didn't know how fast it all goes. 1 minute you're 30, building your life. The next, you're 70, looking back on it, trying to remember how it all went by so fast. And the strangest part? Some of the best moments felt ordinary when they happened. A dinner, a laugh, a walk around the block with someone who's no longer here. That's what life is made of, so no. I didn't always know these things. I didn't always understand what really matters, but now I do. And if my story, my regrets, my lessons can reach even one person, then none of it was wasted. I know not everyone wants advice from someone older. But this isn't really about advice. This is about truth, and truth has a way of settling deep in your bones no matter how old you are. So, if you're still with me, I want to invite you to lean in, because the next part is where I share the first 3 of the 10 life lessons I've carried with me. These aren't just tips. They're truths I earned the hard way, the kind that change how you see yourself, your time, and the people around you. Let's walk through them together. And maybe, just maybe, something I say will light a path you didn't even know you needed. Lesson number 1 to number 3, the truth about time, people, and regret. Lesson number 1, time is a currency you don't get to re-earn. There's one thing I wish I'd truly understood earlier in life. It's this. Time is the most valuable currency you have. And once it's spent, it's gone. When I was younger, I traded time like it was nothing. I gave it away to people who didn't value me. I wasted it on things I thought were important. Job titles, arguments, chasing approval, chasing money. I told myself I'd make more time later. But let me tell you, later is a luxury not everyone gets. I've buried friends who thought they had more time. I've watched people work 40 years for retirement and pass away just months after. You start to understand that tomorrow is a hope, not a promise. Now, I treat time like gold. I give it only to people who feed my spirit. I guard it from distractions that don't serve me. I don't spend an hour where I wouldn't want to spend a day. Younger people often ask me, what should I focus on? My answer is always this. Focus on moments, not milestones. Milestones will come, promotions, houses, weddings. But the moments, the walk after dinner, the call from your mom, your child falling asleep on your shoulder, those are the moments that build your real life. And if you blink, you'll miss them. I didn't always know this, but I know it now. And if you're still spending your time like it's endless, please hear me. Start living like every hour matters, because it does. Lesson number 2. Not everyone deserves a front row seat in your life. One of the hardest but most freeing lessons I've learned is that not everyone who starts with you is meant to stay with you, and that's okay. When I was younger, I thought loyalty meant holding on to friendships, to people who hurt me, to relationships that were long dead. I kept toxic people in my life out of guilt. I stayed in draining conversations out of politeness. I tolerated disrespect because I didn't want to seem harsh. But wisdom taught me something powerful. Your peace is more important than their comfort. Life is short, and your emotional space is sacred. You wouldn't let just anyone live in your house. So why let them live in your mind, your energy, your heart? There are people who uplift you, and people who drain you. There are friends who clap for you when you're not in the room. And there are those who only show up to compete, criticize, or manipulate. The hard part? Sometimes the draining people are family, or old friends, or even partners. But here's what I've learned. You can love someone and still walk away to save yourself. You can forgive someone and still choose not to let them back in. That's not bitterness. That's boundaries. I didn't always know this. For too long, I let people stay in my life because of shared history instead of shared energy. Now, I give my time, my stories, and my joy only to those who've earned it. And I encourage you to do the same. Protect your peace like it's your life, because in many ways, it is. Lesson number 3. Regret feels heaviest for the things you didn't do. I used to think regret would come from the mistakes I made, the words I shouldn't have said, the jobs I took, the relationships I stayed in too long. And yes, those regrets are real. But do you know what stings worse? The things I never did, the times I stayed silent instead of speaking up. The opportunities I passed up because I was scared. The love I didn't express because I assumed I had more time. We think we'll always get another chance to say, I'm proud of you, or I'm sorry, or I love you. We think we'll travel later, rest later, heal later, but later doesn't always come. I remember one time, years ago, I had a chance to visit an old friend who'd moved across the country. We hadn't seen each other in a decade. I said I was too busy. 2 months later, he was gone. No goodbye, no next time. That one haunted me for a long while, because we never know when the last time is the last time. Now I live with a different kind of urgency. I say the kind words when they come to me. I take the trip. I go to the gathering. I don't wait for the right time, because life rarely gives a warning. I didn't always know how deep regret can run when it's rooted in inaction. But now I do. So if there's something you've been wanting to do, a dream, a phone call, a letter, Let this be your sign. Do it. Do it now, before the chance slips away. These 3 lessons shaped the core of how I live now. They're not theories. They're the result of living, losing, loving, and learning the hard way. If you're younger than me, consider these truths a gift. If you're around my age or older, I imagine some of them are already familiar to your soul. Either way, these lessons aren't meant to shame. They're meant to wake something up inside you. Time is your greatest treasure. Protect it. The people you surround yourself with, choose them wisely. And when it comes to your life's dreams or your heart's truths, don't wait, because you never know when the clock will stop ticking. Lesson number 4 to number 6, the hidden keys to peace, love, and purpose. Lesson number 4, peace isn't found, it's chosen. Every day. For a long time, I thought peace was something you found, like a place, a destination. I used to say things like, I'll be at peace once I retire, or I'll feel calm when things settle down. But life rarely settles. It just shifts. One storm rolls in after another, and before you know it, you've been waiting for calm your whole life. What I've learned, and I wish I'd learned this sooner, is that peace isn't a place you find. It's a choice you make daily. Sometimes hourly. You choose to release what you can't control. You choose not to argue just to win. You choose silence over chaos, forgiveness over resentment, rest over burnout. It took me years to understand that not everything requires my reaction. Not every comment needs a response. Not every situation demands my energy. And peace? It's in the pause. That space between impulse and response. That breath you take before you react. That quiet whisper that says, let it go. Peace is saying no when you mean it. It's canceling the plan you're too exhausted for. It's walking away from people who thrive on drama. And sometimes it's just sitting with your own thoughts, without noise, and realizing you're okay. I didn't always know how to choose peace. But now, I protect it like a treasure. Because once you've had chaos, once your soul has been noisy for too long, peace becomes the most beautiful sound in the world. Lesson number 5. Love is what you do, not just what you feel. Whoa, is often misunderstood. When I was younger, I thought love was fireworks, passion, romance, grand gestures. And while that's one kind of love, the kind you see in movies, it's not the kind that lasts through the years, the sickness, the silence, the slow mornings and long nights. Real love is action. It's presence. It's sacrifice. It's listening when you're tired. It's doing the dishes when it's not your turn. It's forgiving mistakes. Not because it's easy, but because the person matters more than the problem. I've seen love fall apart when it was only words. And I've seen love thrive in the quiet actions of people who never said much, but always showed up. I remember my wife once brought me coffee at 5 a.m. before a long drive. I didn't ask. She didn't say anything. She just placed it on the counter, kissed my cheek, and went back to bed. That moment stuck with me more than 1,000 I love yous. Love is the steady presence. It's who shows up when you're sick, who checks on you when you're quiet, who knows how you like your tea, who listens when you ramble about things that don't matter. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this. Love isn't measured by how loudly it's said. It's measured by how deeply it's felt and how often it's shown. So if you love someone, don't just say it, show it. And if you're not being shown love, don't settle for empty words. You deserve the kind of love that chooses you in action every single day. Lesson number 6. Purpose isn't something you find. It's something you give. There was a time I thought purpose had to be something big, a career, a legacy, a title. I spent years trying to find my purpose, thinking it was this grand hidden truth that would one day reveal itself. But now, I see it differently. Purpose isn't about what you do for a living. It's about how you live. It's not something you discover on a mountaintop. It's something you give away, little by little, every day. It's in the advice you give to your grandchildren, the meals you cook for your family, the kindness you show to strangers, the patience you offer when no one else sees. Some of the most purposeful people I've ever met never had a platform. They didn't write books or build empires, but they made people feel safe, seen, loved. That's purpose. You don't need to wait for a big opportunity to make your life meaningful. You make it meaningful by being useful, by helping someone else carry their burden, even for a moment. There's purpose in calling an old friend. There's purpose in planting a garden that someone else will enjoy. There's purpose in simply being present for someone who needs to talk. I've learned that your purpose is whatever makes someone else's day a little lighter, and that can happen in the smallest, quietest ways. So if you're searching for meaning, stop looking outside yourself. Look at who you can serve, what you can give, how you can show up. Because the secret is this: your purpose isn't out there, it's in you. And it's activated when you start giving, not waiting. These 3 lessons, peace, love, and purpose, are the invisible architecture of a meaningful life. You won't always find them in flashy headlines or social media posts, but they're the foundation of every good day I've lived. They don't come easy, but they come steadily. If you're open, you choose peace by protecting your mind and your boundaries. You show love by how you show up, not what you say. You live purpose by giving your time, heart, and hands to someone else. I didn't always know these things, but I've felt the difference they make, and now I share them, not because I have all the answers, but because I've finally started asking the right questions. Lesson number 7 to number 9. What I'd do differently if I could start over. As I sit with the quiet wisdom of my years, I often reflect, not with regret, but with curiosity. What would I do differently if I had the chance to begin again? That question has followed me through late-night walks, long conversations with old friends, and silent mornings with a cup of coffee. So here are 3 truths. Not to mourn the past, but to guide anyone younger than me who still has time to change course. Lesson number 7, I would speak less and listen more. If I could rewind time, I wouldn't be in such a rush to prove myself. I wouldn't speak just to fill silence. I wouldn't argue just to be right. In my younger days, I was quick with opinions. I'd interrupt, debate, defend, and dominate conversations. I thought being smart meant always having something to say. But the older I got, the more I realized something powerful. People don't remember what you said nearly as much as they remember how you made them feel. And often, listening deeply makes people feel more heard than any brilliant sentence you could offer. I've sat with grieving friends who didn't need advice, just silence. I've learned more from a quiet old man on a park bench than from any conference speaker. And I've seen how relationships improve, instantly, when I simply shut up and listen. If I could start over, I'd leave more space for others to speak. I'd ask more questions and wait patiently for the answers. I'd understand that silence is not awkward, it's sacred. It's where connection begins. So if you're still racing to be heard, try slowing down to listen. You'll be surprised how much wisdom the world is whispering, if only you make space for it. Lesson number 8. I would chase moments, not things. This lesson hits deep, because I spent years chasing the wrong things: promotions, pay raises, titles, cars. I thought success was measured by what I owned and how high I climbed. And sure, those things felt good for a while, but they never lasted. I bought the watch, the house, the nice clothes, and then felt empty again. The finish line kept moving. What lasts are the moments, the belly laughs with family, the quiet dinners with my spouse, the first steps of my grandchild, the unexpected, hug, the stargazing nights. No one talks about the car you drove in your eulogy. They talk about your warmth, your presence, your kindness. If I could start over, I'd work less overtime and spend more evenings at home. I'd stress less about the job title and more about being a good friend. I'd invest in memories, not material. Now, in my later years, I find joy in the simplest things. Feeding birds, calling an old friend, teaching my grandson how to make pancakes. These are the riches that matter. If you're young and reading this, don't wait until you're old to learn this. Stuff loses value. Moments appreciate over time. Lesson number 9. I would apologize sooner, forgive faster, and let go of grudges that don't deserve my energy. This one took me decades to fully embrace. I used to hold on to grudges like trophies. I'd replay arguments in my mind years after they ended. I thought that staying angry made me strong, that forgiving meant letting someone off the hook. But over time, I realized something heavy. Holding a grudge is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. I lost years of peace over things that, looking back, weren't worth a single sleepless night. I held off on saying I'm sorry out of pride. I waited for people to apologize first. And sometimes they never did. Now I see it differently. If I've hurt someone, I say it plainly. I was wrong. I'm sorry. If someone hurt me, I decide quickly. Can I let this go and move on? If I can, I do. Not for them. For me. Letting go doesn't mean pretending it didn't happen. It means choosing your peace over being right. It means you value your future more than reliving your past. I've seen family members go years without speaking over small misunderstandings, and I've watched the tears when it's too late to make things right. If I could start over, I'd choose peace sooner. I'd mend relationships faster. I'd forgive not because they always deserved it, but because I deserved peace. You'll never regret letting go of something that was weighing you down. But you might deeply regret waiting too long to make peace. These 3 lessons, about listening more, chasing less, and forgiving faster, didn't come from a textbook. They came from living, from failing, from hurting people I cared about, and from being hurt too. If I had the chance to live my life over again, these are the shifts I'd make early. Not dramatic changes, but gentle ones that would have created more peace, more connection, and more joy. And the beauty is, even though I can't go back, you might still have time. Whether you're 25 or 65, it's not too late to. Be a better listener. Value moments over materials. Choose forgiveness before resentment takes root. I didn't always know how to live this way, but I do now. And I hope these lessons give you something I never had. A map before the storm. Lesson number 10. What truly matters in the end. My final reflection. They say hindsight is 20/20, and I believe that. But hindsight doesn't just bring clarity. It brings peace, too. After all the years, all the noise, and all the striving, I now see life from a higher place. Not better, just broader. And from here, one lesson stands taller than the rest. It's the final lesson, but it's the thread that runs through them all. Lesson number 10. In the end, people are what matter. Most I've stood at too many hospital bedsides. I've walked through too many funerals. And in those quiet, heavy moments, I've never once heard someone say, I wish I'd made more money, or I should have worked more hours. What do they say? I wish I'd spent more time with my kids. I should have called my brother back. I regret not forgiving her. I hope they know I loved them. It always comes back to people, not things, not trophies, not titles, just people. It's so easy to forget this when we're young. I know I did. I was driven, not in a bad way, just in a tunnel vision kind of way. I wanted to succeed, to make my parents proud, to build a name. And I did those things. But looking back, I can see all the small sacrifices that came with it. The missed birthdays, the canceled vacations, the phone calls I promised to return but never did. At the time, I told myself, I'll make it up to them. But life doesn't always give you that chance. I lost friends, not to death but to distance. I lost years with family members I thought I had forever with. And the one thing I wish I could do now is sit with them one more time. Just to laugh, to talk, to say thank you, or I love you. So if I can leave you with one final truth, it's this: invest in your people. They are your real wealth. Make time. While you still have it, we live in a world that glorifies hustle, constant movement, productivity. But at what cost? You see, time is the one currency you can't earn back. Once it's spent, it's gone. And so many of us spend our best years trading it for things that don't matter in the end. If I could start over, I wouldn't just make time for people. I'd protect it. I'd prioritize Sunday dinners. I'd take the phone call even if I was tired. I'd sit and watch my grandchild color without checking my email. I'm telling you now, don't wait for tragedy to remind you what matters. Call them today. Hug them a little longer. Say the thing you've been holding in. You never know when it might be your last chance. Say the words. While you can, one of the heaviest burdens people carry into old age is unsaid words. The I love you they were too embarrassed to say. The I'm sorry they thought could wait. The thank you they assumed the other person already knew. But here's the truth. People can't read your mind. If it's on your heart, speak it. I learned this lesson the hard way. I once lost a dear friend suddenly. No warning. One day we were laughing about old times. The next, he was gone. And I never got to say, "You changed my life." That still stings. Now, I don't wait. I tell people what they mean to me, even if it feels awkward, even if it's overdue. Because a kind word spoken in time can live in someone's heart forever. Let go of what won't matter on your deathbed. We carry so much baggage through life. Guilt, resentment, pride, old grudges, and yet, in the end, none of that comes with us. Nobody lays in a hospice bed saying, "I'm so glad I stayed mad for 10 years," or "I'm proud I never forgave my sister." What they say is, "I wish I'd let that go." Holding on to pain doesn't protect you. It hardens you. And life is too short to carry what you were never meant to hold. So forgive, not because they deserve it, but because you do. Let go of the argument that happened 10 years ago. Free yourself from old wounds. Release the story that no longer serves you. Peace in your final years begins with letting go, not holding on. The final reflection. A life well loved is. A life well lived. When I think about what really matters in the end, it isn't complicated. Did I love well? Did I give more than I took? Did I make someone else's day brighter? If I can answer yes to those questions, then I've lived a good life. Not perfect, but meaningful. And I believe that's what most people want. Not to be famous, not to be remembered by millions, just to be remembered by the few people who mattered most. As someone who showed up, who loved deeply, who gave freely. You won't find that kind of legacy in your resume. You'll find it in your relationships. Before I go, a personal note to you, if you've made it this far. Thank you. It means you care about living well, about loving deeply, about listening to those who've walked the path before you. That's all I ever wanted, to pass on what I've learned, so maybe, just maybe, someone younger doesn't have to learn it the hard way. So here it is, as simple and honest as I can say it. Life is short. People matter most. Don't wait to love them.